come and see the exhibition. Don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Don't mind us.
I'm Holly Smith. I'm an archivist at Cultural Collections.
I'm Terry Wragg, and I'm a member of the Leeds Animation Workshop.
And we're here at the Animated Activism Women Empowered exhibition, which was co-curated with Women's Aid and Leeds Animation Workshop. So yeah, very bright, very colourful, full of stuff. How did you find the co-curation process, Terry, and being involved in getting it all put together?
I'm very pleased that they asked us. I'm very pleased that that we were consulted about some of the things that were in the exhibition, and it helped us to feel a bit involved.
Yeah. It was quite interesting to hear, because we obviously had ideas, because I helped catalogue the Women's Aid archive, and we had people involved from the Leeds Animation Workshop archive team as well. So we kind of knew some of the stories we thought were engaging, or some of the things that would look good in an exhibition case, but being able to take that to the organisations and actually get feedback on what you guys thought was important and the stories that needed to be told, and kind of keep looping that back and making refined changes and things like that. And then we end up with a case that reflects the archive, but also the stories of the organisations as well, I guess.
Yeah, and it was nice that we got a chance to make a film where we were asked to bring together some of the themes in the archive. And what we also wanted to do with the film was to show people what the archive actually is and what it looks like. So we were allowed into the secret recesses of where all this material is kept in the university. And we took some film and animated it as well, so that, because that's what we do, we make animated films. And we've also put in some of the samples of material that's come out of Women's Aid and out of the Animation Workshop over the years, and sort of managed to get quite a few different aspects of it all into 5 minutes, and that was really nice to work on.
Yeah, because it references not only the two organisations, but kind of that foundation of the women's liberation movement. And you reference the first conference in the film. We've got a case in the exhibition that kind of looks at the context that these two organisations came from. So it's nice to kind of ground it in that women's lib theme, I think.
Yeah, because photographs have been put in the public eye not very long ago, actually. There was an exhibition in London called Women in Revolt last year, which had photos of the very first women's conference, and we did some drawings based on those photographs to try and give a flavour of what it was like, because none of us was at the first women's conference, although some of us were at some of the fairly early ones. But yeah, most of our team weren't born until year 2000. But yeah, it was really good to sort of look back on the things that were holding women back in 1970, and even though there's still plenty of problems, some of those problems have been some of the really big issues in the 1970s have actually been sorted out to some extent.
Yeah, it's that nice mix of there's obviously still a lot to do, and hopefully there's some exhibitions inspiring for that, but also the changes that have been made in the last 50 years are pretty astounding. Looking back at some of the shocking things from the 70s, there's been a lot of progress, I guess thanks to the activist networks that WAIF and Law were a part of.
Yes, and you've got Feminist Archive North here as well, which is a great repository of some of that early material. And, they also helped, as I understand, to source some fun bits like badges and things like that, which are here as well.
Yeah, and we've got the big badges on the jars as well, drawing people into the exhibition. So, yeah, I think that's one of the fun things about the exhibition. It's dealing with such serious things and it's telling some really important messages, but it's so bright and colourful. With the posters behind us and the badges on the jar, I think it's a really engaging exhibition. So hopefully everyone comes and sees it. Learns about Leeds Animation Workshop and Women's Aid, because they're still around and still doing important work today. I think that's important to say.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, both these organisations still going after all this time. Yeah. And, you know, doing new things.
Yeah, still plenty to do. The final case is focused on what's next and what both organisations are doing now and what's still to do. So what's Leeds Animation Workshop working on at the moment and what's going to happen in the future?
We're still working on new films, and also we put on film shows. Often we put on work by women animators from other countries and put them on in places where, sometimes places like the library in Hare Hills, where people don't necessarily get a chance to see international animation rarities, but they seem to enjoy it when we put them on there. And we also have been putting on a lot of workshops where people can come and make their own animated film in one day. And that's we did quite a bit of that during Leeds 2023 City of Culture, but we've always done that as well in different places. Showed people how to make animation. It's a kind of, you know, obviously it's fairly simplified kind of animation, but it's still very good and watchable, the things that people come up with. And, well, we've been going since 1970s, and obviously film technology has changed a bit over that time. When we first started out, we were making films on cell, same as what Bambi was made with. But after a few years, we changed over and made films with cutouts, i.e. little two-dimensional puppets that had hinged arms and legs and made out of stiff paper, all painted by hand. And different times we've used model animation. In about 2011 or 2012, we started shooting on digital cameras instead of 16mm cameras. And some of the new young members have never done drawing on paper. I can't quite believe it, but this is what they tell me. No, I've never drawn on paper in my life. I just got my iPad and then I started drawing on that. And so between all of us, we cover quite a lot of different techniques of animation. And when we do a workshop in the local community or sometimes in our own studio, you know, we make all kinds of media available for people to use that mean that they can do something fairly quickly and easily. But it's shot in a reasonably high quality way, so they can take home a file of their film. And animation is a really good medium for making films about an issue. That's not all it's good for, but it is really perfect for making a film about an issue that is, as you said, you can take something really, really complicated, like nuclear energy, or the complications of that happen to a family when one of the family goes to prison. All of these are very complicated things, very sensitive things, like what a child can do if they're living in a home where there's domestic violence, or children who suffered sexual abuse. you know, these are very difficult, sensitive issues. Where there's been a bereavement in a family, people don't know what to say, how to comfort someone in that situation. And I'm not saying at all that an animated film can, you know, make that problem go away, but what it can do is help to show things so you don't have to find the right words, help to show different people's points of view and help them understand where each other's coming from. And where things are really complicated, it can simplify them. When we made a film with a group of migrant domestic workers that we've been doing workshops with for months and months and months, and it had taken us about a year to work out what their story was, because they were talking about all these things about visas, and we couldn't work out how all these women ended up in jobs in Yorkshire when they came from places like the Philippines or Indonesia. And their stories, you know, we pieced together gradually, bit by bit. But as I say, it took us about a year before we actually worked it out. But we made that, through animation, we were able to make that into a 7-minute film that tells their story, and they can use it. You know, they've taken it to Parliament, they're taking it around the world to show to different people, because it's a very simple, easy to understand, and, you know, some people say quite a powerful story. And that's just one example. Animation can take a lot of information and condense it into a simple little message, and without preaching, without telling people what to think, just with raising questions. And that's why we've been doing it all these years.